Welcome, my name's Jim Musgrave. I'm the author of the popular Pat O'Malley Steampunk Mystery series. I'd like to announce that Jane the Grabber, the third mystery in my series, will be available free for download at Amazon.com. Just log in at Amazon and do a search for Jane the Grabber on November 7th, 2013. The free download days will be lasting until November 11th, 2013. So get your copy. Also, the first 3 chapters of the new steampunk novel, Steam City Pirates, will be available in that download at the end of Jane the Grabber. As the author, I'd like to thank my readers for the thousands of downloads of my first 2 books in the series, Forevermore, about the murder of Edgar Allan Poe, and Disappearance at Mount Sinai, which is a mystery about the kidnapping of Dr. Arthur Mergenthaler, the wealthiest inventor in New York City in the 1860s. So I'd like to read a little portion of my new steampunk novel, The Steam City Pirates. This is from chapter 10, and it describes the 2 main characters, the antagonist, Mr. Manette, who's a computer man, and he lives beneath the city of New York under Central Park with his pirate inventors. And Pat O'Malley, who's my narrator and detective in the series, he's under the Central Park now, and he shall meet the inventor. Chapter 10, wherein we see the fantastic employment of steam men, their construction, and ambulation. Later that evening, when I was invited to Abraham Manette's personal cave, I brought with me the designs of the steam men that Dr. Franklin Biggs Pemberton had given me. Our ultimate plan was to construct a mechanical warrior that could be easily defeated by the one we would design for ourselves. After that occurred, the midget members of the network would swarm out of our mechanical man and inject Manette, Jane the Grabber, and John Allen with a deadly drug made inside the laboratory of the hospital. The Grand Inquisitor's cave was actually quite austere. It had a long bed with 1 pillow, white sheets, and a plain coverlet. There were no paintings, expensive furniture, or other ostentatious objects. There was a single desk made of polished plain oak or some other sturdy wood, and 7 functional chairs surrounding this desk for his guests. It was not the domicile of a future dictator. Of course, this could all be a cover for a more clandestine pursuit. I was most interested in finding out about Manette's story and how he came to be the leader of the society. Again, I had to take whatever he told me with the proverbial grain of salt, or perhaps even a mountain of sodium chloride, depending on how honest he wanted to be with me. I knew I had my time machine, and I could travel to wherever Manette said he originated. I would travel there to see if he were telling me the truth. Time travel certainly had its advantages in this case. I was still concerned about Dr. Adler, although Bessie said she would look into his activities for me. I was also troubled that the network, as described by Dr. Biggs Pemberton, allowed for the destruction of planets. There was no present way for me to check on the veracity of his explanation. My time machine simply could not travel into different universes, and I had to take the little man at his word. What he said only made sense if one believed his sermon about freedom of time travel and the creation of alternate universes that were fashioned after others were destroyed. I needed to act within my own universe in order to discover any clues to point me in the right direction. The problem with this was that I was horrified of time travel. Dr. Adler instructed me that this was the way of the hero, so I had accepted my calling. Inside the belly of this beast beneath Central Park, I sat in a chair to face my antagonist. He had the same magnetic red eyes, and I felt my entire body stiffen in place as he spoke to me. My eyes were riveted in place by his, and I took shallow, quick breaths. Dr. Rondell Goodwin, I will tell you this only once, so I suggest you pay extreme attention. Your adopted country of Japan will be bombed in the future by a weapon that we are sworn to prevent. In fact, the city of Nagasaki, which is very close to your islet of Hashima, was the second victim of this dastardly act. The first city that was chosen by the Americans as a target was Kokura, but haze prevented it from being hit. As a result, the alternative was Nagasaki. I wanted to tell you this because you must see that death is real for humans, and even the life of one human is too many to lose. For you see, Doctor, my mind is connected to all humanity, both in the past and in the future. Because of this one reality, I was called upon to prevent the annihilation of your world. I don't understand. How can you be connected to all humanity? I asked, sitting forward in my chair and biting my lower lip. I was again entering a dream, it seemed, right out of Poe's nightmares. These two bombs, nicknamed Fat Man and Little Boy, were used to force the surrender of the Japanese government. They succeeded in doing so, but not after over 200,000 civilians had been disintegrated, burned beyond recognition as humans, and tortured genetically into generations yet to come. For you see, Doctor, this weaponry is beyond despicable. Let me connect you with two people who saw what happened on those 2 days. They were both survivors. I can travel back in my mind to those events and allow you to hear them through me. First, this is a man who sees his home city of Hiroshima just following the bomb explosion. Manette's face contorted into a grimace, and his red eyes glowed with an inner power. The brass coil around his neck vibrated and steamed, and the voice that came out of it had a heavy Japanese accent. The appearance of people was, well, they all had skin blackened by burns. They had no hair because their hair was burned, and at a glance you couldn't tell whether you were looking at them from in front or in back. They held their arms bent forward like this. And their skin, not only on their hands, but also on their faces and bodies, hung down. If there had been only one or two such people, perhaps I would not have had such a strong impression. But wherever I walked, I met these people. Many of them died along the road. I can still picture them in my mind like walking ghosts. The sound of the voice was ringing in my ears. It was so loud and torturous. And then Manette began again with the voice of another survivor from Nagasaki. The pumpkin field in front of our house was blown clean. Nothing was left of the whole thick crop, except that in place of the pumpkins there was a woman's head. I looked at the face to see if I knew her. It was a woman of about 40. She must have been from another part of town. I had never seen her around here. A gold tooth gleamed in the wide-open mouth. A handful of singed hair hung down from the left temple over her cheek, dangling in her mouth. Her eyelids were drawn up, showing black holes where the eyes had been burned out. She'd probably looked square into the flash and gotten her eyeballs burned. I could take no more of this. "Stop it!" I yelled. I was no stranger to war and to death on the battlefield, but this description of civilians dying from the most shocking weapon we humans could devise, it was all too much to bear. Manette came out of his trance slowly. When he was in full present moment, he again gazed at me, and my eyes once more felt under his control. "This was only the beginning, Doctor. What followed was an escalation of this kind of weaponry, until they had created what eventually destroyed our planet. So many nations had warehoused these weapons that the chance of accidental discharge was a certainty. It really does not matter how or why the first missile rose into the morning sky. I say it was a computer error, although it could have been a human error as well. I only say it was a computer because by that time all the other systems of governance, business, and finance were organized and controlled by powerful computer systems. The future nations placed their spiritual faith in scientific logarithms and computer technology, and it caused their ultimate destruction. This is why we are here, and why we must win, Doctor. Will you join us?" Manette's voice concluded the final sentence in a harsh whisper. That's a little taste of my new steampunk mystery, Steam City Pirates. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you come back to my website for updates and other videos. Thanks a lot for being here. As an independent author, I want to extend my gratitude for my readers, and that you keep supporting me is quite an honor. Thank you. Have a great day.